Are you sitting comfortably? Then we'll begin.
Hey everybody, welcome back to On the Grid, and we are in RACEROOM Racing Experience today, and it is the big December update that we've been waiting for. This is one big update. We have a lot to go through. New cars, new track, new tire model, new physics, engine mapping, ERS, quality changes, race starts, and so much more. So let's do it. So the first thing I do want to start off with is the new UI update. And in order to get this, you have to make sure you put dash web menu in your Steam startup parameters. And once you do that, you will see it in various places. It's not everywhere. So first thing we'll do is go into settings, and right away you'll see all these new updates. So if we look at the top here, we have our inputs. So throttle, hit my clutch, my steering. We can see the different inputs up there. I like the new streamlined layout that they have put together here. Very clean, very minimalist. So gameplay, video, sound, controls, and field of view are your main menus, and then you have your sub menus that run underneath. So let's start off here with gameplay. You see you have your assists menu, you have your camera effects, you have your HUD options, and then again, you have your system options as well. So go back to the main one, hit video. We have your basic video settings. You have your graphic settings as well. And then you have advanced. So very clean, very easy, very intuitive. Really like that. As for sound, be the same thing. Basic sound settings, and then your individual sound settings for each of the items that you want to either increase, decrease, hear more, hear less. And so really well put together for that. And then once we go to the controls, we see here we have our wizard, so we can run to calibrate the steering pedals and the gearbox, plus some common bindings that we have over here on the side. We have our control sets with all your previous profiles. So you can see here I have my Porsche Podium wheel set up, so that is one that's selected. And then key bindings, I'll go back through that in a second. Advanced settings as well, so all the sensitivities have been put there. And again, force feedback. So really nice clean menu. The one thing I really do like about this though is the field of view. So now you have this car perspective, and you also have the overhead perspective. And as you make adjustments based on narrowing or widening, you see the actual perspective change in the car. So I really think that's a nice addition that they've added to it. And of course, if you want to go into advanced change settings, you can adjust your screen size, your distance, your height, offset, and so forth. So we'll keep this on simple, and let's go back. Now, I do want to go into controls because there is a few things that have been added. So let's scroll down here. We have traction control. Now we have a traction control override. So this is really great if you go off track, you spin out, you're stuck on the grass, you're trying to get going, and then the traction control is not letting you get out. This is really great because you can temporarily disable it, feather your throttle, get yourself back out on track, and then let go of the button and you're back in with your traction control. Going down a little further, we have our engine maps. So now we can enable 5 different engine modes. If you have a rotary switch or a multi-position switch, you can use the plus minus to add that to a rotary, or you can map this to a multi-position switch here, so 1 through 5. And the way this works in RACEROOM is that the lowest number is the least power, highest number is the most output. So that's the way it works in RACEROOM. And if we scroll down a little further here, we'll see that we have the engine braking or engine recovery. So basically here you can use it to set as your toggle increase, decrease, or you can have it mapped to a multi-position switch 1 through 6. This is not available on all cars. It is available on cars that do have the feature. So if you do go and check out the release notes, I believe it's listed of all the cars that will feature this, at least to start off with. Another new feature that's really great to add in. So a couple of the new features: engine braking reduction, engine mapping, so the 5 modes that we saw above, and engine recovery, traction control override. And another new thing is throttle mapping. Now the throttle mapping, the way that's going to work, it works on the developer side. It's not something that's a user controlled feature. So basically what happened is the throttle mapping is going from being very linear previously to now they're able to really individually map or tune those cars to the way the throttle mapping should be. So one key thing is though, for that to really function correctly and to make sure it works, you want to go into your throttle sensitivity and make sure your throttle sensitivity is set to its default, and that's 50%. So that's what is suggested from Sector 3. All right, and another new update that has been probably long awaited is a turbo code update. Now, previously, any turbo cars that you were driving, you basically had to go full throttle to even get moving on the car. That has been updated, and without going into too much detail about it, Basically, what it is now is that it's based on the engine revs over the throttle. So previously, say for example, you were running at 50%, you were running at about half of that. So now what happens is it goes based on the engine revs. So it should be a little bit more realistic. And so we'll have to, spend a bit more time with that and see how that functions. All right, enough talk. Let's get out and see those new cars. All right, so we're over here in the store. And as far as cars and tracks, we do have 5 new cars and basically 2 new tracks. There have been some Art Pass updates, which I'll bring up in a second. But the first car that we see here is the Volkswagen Motorsport ID.R electric car. So this is where you'll see the ERS system available in the tuning menu. I'll take this out, and once we get there, we'll see that. So the second car is the Group 2 Scirocco from Volkswagen as well. This seems like a really fun car, so I'll probably take that one out first. And then another 3 additions, really exciting, is the Audi Sport R8 GT2, GT3 Evo, and GT4. So this really completes a nice selection of cars in the GT series. And as far as tracks are concerned, really happy to see Watkins Glen finally make it into this game. So it comes with 4 different layouts, and those 4 different layouts are the short with inner loop, the Grand Prix with inner loop, the short circuit, and the Grand Prix track. So 4 really fun fun layouts to actually run with. And as far as other tracks, finally, we have Brands Hatch Grand Prix in RACEROOM. This is one that's been so requested for a long time, and I'm sure many people are really happy, myself included. This is a track that probably had the most popular emoji in RACEROOM Discord has been the BHGP emoji, so finally maybe we see that rest. All right, so now as far as art passes, so 3 tracks have been updated to 2020 specs. We have the Bathurst circuit has been updated. The Imola circuit has been updated to 2020 specs, and the Portimao circuit. So I think that must come hot off the heels of Formula One being there this year and having such an exciting race. All right, so let's not wait any longer. Let's do the Brands Hatch Grand Prix track, and let's take out the Volkswagen Scirocco Group 2. All right, so before we get out, a couple of new things. Obviously, you see here a new pre-race menu or a new lobby menu. So you see which session you're in up here at the top in green, so practice. We have our car setup menu, race monitor menu, which I believe is still the same, pit stop resets, and sessions. A couple of other things. Finally, probably one of the things that could not wait for, and it's been added in this update, is you can actually now finish your qualification lap. Before it would happen where you're like 100 meters from the finish line, and if the time was up, you didn't get to qualify. So finally, you get to finish your lap. Another thing is the start and finish. So you can now have rolling starts, especially in multiplayer. You can actually jump start. So and full cooldown laps and everything. So everything has been kind of really updated to give a bit more of that immersion. So it's nice to see rolling starts added in. There is a new replay menu, which I'll get in a second. We'll check that out. There has also been some new shared memory API, so that's really good for anybody running Fanalab or any external screens or anything like that. So that's always good. And there's been a bunch of external and cockpit sounds updated. They've been continually doing that over the past year of updating sounds, external and internal car sounds. And what else? There's a lot of things. I'll put a link to the change list or the release notes down below. But the other thing is that there's been quite a few AI tweaks, so that's really good. All right, so quickly we're just going to go over to the car setup menu, and if we look at the driveline, we will see 2 to 3 new features in here depending on the car. So we'll see our engine braking reduction, we'll see the engine mapping, which would be below that, and we'll see the engine recovery, which will be below the differential. I would highly suggest if you have any previous tuning menu or tuning setups, just to reset those to default, just to make sure everything transfers over perfectly when it comes to the physics, the new tire models, and so on. So just go into the folder over here, and you'll see the default setup for Volkswagen. Just click that to load your default setup, and we're good to go. Then we can start tuning from there. All right, so let's take this car out and see how it is. All right, so before we take the ID.R out, I just quickly want to show you in the setup menu under driveline, you will see you have all three new features here. So the engine braking reduction, you have your engine map, and you have the bottom here, your engine recovery system. So all three features are here because it's an electric car and it has all these three features. So as I said earlier on, it's going to be based on if the car has that or doesn't have it. So you might see these three, or you might see one, or you might see two. So just quickly want to go over that. Let's get into this on the updated Bathurst 2020 in the ID.R. So as you hear, I'm in S mode. So S mode is where it's energy recovery is actually happening. So you can see my battery is 100% on the right. And what happens is if I shift to D mode or in drive mode, which is going to be the normal mode, there's no energy recovery happening at all. So as soon as we take over, see, I can shift to D mode now. So this is normal. So there's no energy recovery happening here. So if I want energy recovery to be active, I need to switch to S mode. It's basically just your upshift. And you can see I have 95%. So I can adjust here how much regeneration I need under braking. So under deceleration. So I have it at 15% now. So as I let go, it's starting to regenerate power. Another thing that I am super happy to see and really excited that they've updated is this new replay menu. If you've used replays before, it's been quite an interesting layout to try and figure out. But this is so much better, so much more streamlined, and it's much easier to use, especially for someone content creating. You can see it's like by file name, car class, car, track, game mode, date. You can organize it however you want. You can delete them pretty easily there with the X button, and you can also favorite. So a really nice addition to organize replays. I have to say, between the new content, the physics and tire model updates, the race features that they've added, and the UI changes, this is looking like a very nice beginning of 2021 for RACEROOM in Sector 3. I'm genuinely impressed by how they continue to pour so much energy into making this game better with these kinds of updates. Alright, time for me to sign off and go spend some time on the track enjoying this new update. Until next time, thanks for watching and take care.